Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about another release from Vinegar Syndrome. This was part of their Black Friday special sale. I talked about TC 2000 yesterday. If you haven't checked that out already, please do. Today we will talk about the Tiger Claws trilogy. Here is the artwork from the original first film. This is another martial arts classic from the early 90s. I will mainly be talking about the first film, and I'll be talking about how it looks. I will also dive into the sequels a little bit. So, without further ado, let's get into it. This is another one that stars Jalal Merhi, and it also stars Cynthia Rothrock. She was another star of those 90s martial arts movies. She made a lot of good ones. So, Tiger Claws came out in 1991, I believe, and I rented it one night. I saw on the shelves of Blockbuster. It was one I just never picked up, and I finally rented it one night, and I was not disappointed. It was absolutely great. And Vinegar Syndrome gave another film its due. So, the first Tiger Claws is about, it takes place in New York, and there's these martial artists, very prominent ones, that are turning up dead, and they have these signature markings on them when their bodies are found, and it's these three marks, and the police are kind of baffled. And Chris Masterson, played by Cynthia Rothrock, is a police officer, and she's kind of looking to move up in the ranks, and she has tons of martial arts experience. So she goes to the police captain and is like, look, this is done by a highly trained martial artist. I don't know his exact style, but uh, I have the experience and foresight to figure out who might be doing this, so put me on the case. So the captain does, but he's like, you're not going completely solo. We're going to bring a guy from narcotics named Tarek Richards, played by Jalal Merhi, and she goes to him. He's on suspension from a bus that went bad, but he gets to kind of be an observational role here, and his expertise is needed. So they're like, he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, he's got to help out, and he wants to work alone, but since he's on suspension, he's got to observe. But he helps out Chris Masterson, and Cynthia Rothrock and Jalal Merhi's chemistry is very good here. They play off each other really well. So he brings his insight. He said it's Tiger Claw. It's a very distinct style. It's a very rare martial art. These people are really hardcore with it. It is their life. And he's like, you will not go to any dojo like the commercial dojos around. This is going to be a very tight-knit group, and it's going to be kind of separated from everything. It's not going to be pop up in some shopping plaza. You know, this is pretty extreme. And he had studied it, and it pushed him mentally and physically, and it took him to a place he really didn't like to go, so he kind of dropped it. But he knows the style and how deadly it can be. So he does use his insight to start to discover where this could be coming from. And he does find the school that teaches it, and he does kind of infiltrate the group a little bit. Now, I'll kind of leave it at that, but there's tons of martial arts action. There's Bolo Young in it, of course, you know, from Bloodsport, so he's in here, and his presence is always welcome in a martial arts movie. His presence is just so awesome. So he's in here, and the fight scenes are great. And this movie has a score again by Varouge. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know, but it's from Jalal Merhi's production, so he used lots of the same people. So the music here is pretty good for a smaller budgeted movie. The choreography, like I said, is great. The cinematography is good. The editing's good. You can see the action, what's going on. It's not these jump cut edits where you're just seeing like all these different fists and occasional, hit to the face, and that's it. Here everything is laid out very clean. Everything looks good. And so the action is top notch, and it's done by great martial artists, and you can tell that on the screen. So this is one of my all-time favorite martial arts flicks from the 90s. I absolutely love it. And Vinegar Syndrome hit a home run again. The transfer, the 4K from the original negative, the 4K scan off the original negative looks fantastic. The sound is fantastic. Everything, the sound mix is good. You can hear the dialogue and the musical score and the punches and all that. Everything is very good. So Vinegar Syndrome did good work here. And now let's go into some of the special features. Here's the artwork from the original Tiger Claws movie. And here is the artwork. This kind of combines the trilogy here. And this is a 2-disc set. And so the sequels, I'm going to be honest, I'm not as wild about. I've watched them. I enjoy them to an extent. But the first one's such a classic to me that the other two, while certainly watchable and do have their fun moments, are just not as up to what Tiger Claws was to me. So it's kind of hard for me to just say, like, absolutely praise it, because I think it was just more of a victim of the first one being so great. But they are solid and they are fun. So, but the franchise kind of took a direction. It really goes out there, and I've talked about that with other martial arts movies from the 90s. You know, if there was like something experimental or a little outside the box, they'd try it. And that's what they have with the Tiger Claws sequel. So if it's your cup of tea, I think you'll really like it. Me, I preferred the original more now, but the transfers on the sequels look very good too. Sound, everything I mentioned with the first one applies to the sequels. Here are the discs, and also the special features for all of them. Jalal Merhi has new commentary for all 3 films, and they have the making of documentary with Cynthia Rothrock and Jalal Merhi. So it's all there. Lots of new material. The trailers, the original trailers for the movies, and there's a making of for the Tiger Claws too. So you know they're pretty in depth here. And also, this is reversible artwork. I'm not going to take the 2 discs out, but it's the reversible artwork and a poster like the hardcover. This was a limited edition of 5,000, so I'm so glad I got a hold of it. And so that pretty much concludes it. Let me know in the comments what you think of Tiger Claws. Is there any other movies you'd like to see Vinegar Syndrome take some more, you know, some of the early 90s movies? There's some real masterpieces out there. Are there any you'd like to see? Let me know any of that in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.